Hello, everyone. Wait and see if I see anyone popping on, and then I will push this to the top of the page. See if I can. I'm really good at reaching for things without seeing them. There we go. All right, so I'm trying to look simultaneously so I can see. Someone's on there. Could just be me watching myself. All right. And hold on, let's see. Hi, Diana. Hi, Donna. Nice to see you all. Thank you guys for stopping in today. Hi, Wanda. Okay, almost there. Hold on. Where's the post? Almost there. There it is. Let me put it at the top. Pin to top. Okay, got it. Hi, Jenny. Good morning. Denise. I just missed somebody there. I feel like it was, I can't remember whose name it was on there. Jenny and Janet. I was like, I knew I saw Janet. Hey. Also, hey, look. Thanks, Donna. Got my new cherry cobbler pad. I'll have to show you guys the difference. I don't look like I have a shirt on. I do. See? It's one of those, like, jersey kind of shirts. I promise I would not go live without a shirt. That would be like, really, I'll be in Facebook jail super fast. Could you imagine? Oh, that's like my worst nightmare. Okay, let me slide these back up. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I also want to say thank you. Look at this beautiful card I got. So this was from Linda, and Linda won a Tipsy. Is this not the most beautiful card? You just, when it gets down, you can appreciate it. It's so gorgeous. Isn't that awesome? What a nice thank you. Thank you for this, Linda. This is a gorgeous card. Linda, you need to do a video and tell us how you made this, because this is something. It is beautiful. It has so many colors in it. No bra, no shirt. Oh, that's too funny. That is not a show I don't think anyone wants to see. Even you crafters, and we're all ladies here, right? So a couple other things. So I wanted to tell you too, if you haven't already, if you're watching, make sure you leave a comment. So I got these, we do these make and takes when we go to one stage, and it's like all the stuff in it to make a card. So I saved mine. I only made one, and the reason I made one is because there were these 3 little mini cards. So I'm going to send these, but I'm going to pick a name. So I'm going to send these out to someone. Now I may take them out of the package because they are kind of big if you look at the size of them. So I might take them out and like put them in with a card. But I'm going to pick names. So make sure if you haven't already, leave a comment. I'm going to give these away. So this one, again, I already made these 3, but they're cute little note cards. So these are using some of the new stuff in the catalog, which is fun. Also, hi, Tina. Sorry, Tina and I didn't get to see each other at one stage in Connecticut, even though we were in the same room in another state. How awkward is that I was so self-absorbed in seeing things that I didn't go look for her. So I'm sorry. We're going to have to meet somewhere on 543. That's the main road that we live on. It's a big road. So also, in case you haven't seen, the paper trimmer is available. It is $25. Great, huge improvement over the last one. I also am going to share about the online extravaganza with you guys. I tried to print it, but my printer was very angry with me, and when it made half of the paper black, which I don't even know. I swear, me and technology were like, right, in a sea of 900 people, we couldn't find each other. Hi, Kathy. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, and by the way, Kathy asked me today about my blog specials, like what my monthly specials were, and I said, just go to my blog. But it's not very easy to find. So when we're finished with this Facebook, while I'm like uploading it to send it to YouTube, I'm going to make sure that I put the specials on the front page, because apparently maybe that's why people can't find what my specials are, because I do have specials every single month. So maybe that's why people don't know and no one wants to shop, because they're like, oh, we'll go with someone who has specials. I have specials, I promise you, every month. And speaking of, I have something I want to share. So now I know there's only 23 of you on here, but feel free to just continue talking about it through the rest of the live. I'm just kidding. Hi, Rhonda. I am very shocked and pleased and shocked to announce that I made some sort of an overall demo list. I was 195 out of 200 on the list, which I know in the grand scheme of things, you know, of 200, but there's like 30,000 demonstrators in the United States. Who you. Not me. Not me at all. Somebody shared it in the Facebook group that I'm in for Team Stamp It, which is a downline of Tammy. And I was like, what? This must be some other Rachel Reif, because Rachel Reif, she can't be. It can't be. And I looked and I found my name and I was like, oh my gosh. So thank you for, number one, for everyone who's on my team who may or may not be watching. Thank you so much for sticking with me. Yay. That's awesome. Also, thank you hugely to all of my customers / friends, because I think most of the people that are my customers now, I would hope to assume that we're friends, because we converse about all kinds of crazy stuff on Facebook Messenger and Facebook and whatever other email stuff. So I really, really hugely, I would never have been able to make a list. First of all, I thought I'd be on the naughty demo list that says things that she's not supposed to say, or the snarky list because I'm always saying crazy stuff. But anyway, thank you all so very much for making me be able to get on that list. I'm really still, at this point, just stunned that I made it on a list with all these other demos that are, like, known. So anyway, thank you guys very much for that. Really, I would not have been in any situation without all of you. So thank you for everything that you've done for me, all of the support, all of the hearts, the shares, the likes, the words. You know, a lot of times people tell me stuff and it'll happen to be when I'm just, you know, everybody sometimes has a bad day. And somebody will share something with me and I think, oh my gosh, it made my heart melt. And I thank you all for that, because even though you might not know, and I do try to tell people, like, I had a terrible whatever, so thank you for making me smile. So I appreciate every one of you. Thank you guys so very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Wendy. That's so kind. Wendy's on Team Stamp It with me, as a matter of fact. So we're friends without bras or boundaries. There you go, Denise. That should be my new Stampin' mantra. No bras, no boundaries. Come stamp with us. I know, out of 30,000 demonstrators, that was still crazy. So anyway, there's lots of great specials coming up. If you would like to be a demonstrator, be part of my team. You don't have to sell anything. Remember, you can just join for the discount. Celebration doesn't start till January, so there is some good stuff coming in January. But aside from that, I'm going to show you, what else did I want to talk about? I have the giveaways that I have. Oh, here are my little ribbons in case you missed them. I saved these. So I got these little extra boxes around because it must mean I'm doing pretty well. So my new tagline, no bras, no boundaries. Stampin' After Dark. We're going to make that happen. I'm telling you, we're going to make that happen. I just had to figure out a time to do it. And we have to, probably going to have to make a group, because if people outside the group are watching it, and then they might be like, this girl's saying bad stuff on Facebook. So we're going to have to figure out a group for this Stampin' After Dark. I promise you. We're going to make it happen. I know I've talked about it, but we're going to do it. Okay, so one other thing, something else I got a lot of cool stuff at OnStage. I also got a pen pack, and I got this really nice little notepad, so I'm going to give those away. And I also have a book bag that I'm not going to keep. I know I'm not going to use it, but it's really cool. And I'm sure you've seen it everywhere. You've seen everything everywhere already. I mean, how could you have missed it unless you only watch me, which thank you, but I'm sure that's not true. So I'm going to do book bag giveaway, but I'm going to have to figure out something, because we're going to, like, do something good for that. And so anyway, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put you down to the desk. We still have to figure out what we're going to make today. So I'm happy to make cards or 3D. You guys let me know if you have a choice of what you want to do. We can totally stick with, I know Thanksgiving is coming. We can do Christmas still. We can do thinking of you cards, sympathy cards, happy birthday, anything. I'm open to absolutely anything today. So you all let me know what you want. And again, really, Linda, if you want to give us a tutorial for this, or like tell me how to do it and I'll do it, I would love to make this card. It is so beautiful. Even just not for Thanksgiving, just like a thank you card. But the colors, when I opened this, I thought, wow, it's a beautiful card. Absolutely beautiful. 3D, and then Christmas cards. All right, and I got cards. So let me clear out this jumble of mess that I have now created. Let's see. It's going to just have to go on the floor. I believe you all have seen my last crafting picture of everything that ends up on the floor, so it's kind of the story of my life here. And also, while I was on stage, I want you to know, Lisa, in case you're watching this, I took a Tipsy with me. And I told several people at my table about how fabulous the Tipsy and all the other products are. So if you're getting any other orders and you have to get a 5th 3D printer, I apologize, but I hope that happens. That would be fantastic. But I was telling them how amazing the Tipsy is and the other products that John has created. So if they had ideas or suggestions, so cards for spring. Spring, we haven't even had Christmas yet, Denise. That's the problem with going on stage, is when you go, you want to make everything for then. And I don't really have very much for spring yet, but I did do a pre-order yesterday. I put it in at the very last day. So maybe when that comes in, then we could do spring. All right, so I'm going to pop you out of this and flip you down. So I'm going to flip you first. That way you're looking at won't be nauseating. And I'm going to cover this up as much as I can. Let's see if I can. I'm always afraid I'm going to turn this off by accident. And I think if you really want to see something super duper good, Tammy and Linda are going to be doing their, they're going to be doing their product haul later on the Stampin' Scoop. Because the UPS plane was delayed, probably because too many people ordered stuff. So how funny is that? All right, so I went to Target last week. Your order's due today. Oh my gosh, I might come drive to your house and take it off your porch. I'm just kidding, but I might. I got these at Target because I thought these would be cute things that we could like wrap with DSP. So I'll save these for later. Also, there's 2 blog hops coming up this week. So there's one tomorrow. Tomorrow isn't a huge one, but still give you plenty of ideas for Christmas. And on that blog, we also do 3D projects. So it's a card and a project. So I think there's 4 people right now. But that is the Stampin' Friends blog hop. So you can find that at Rachthestamper. And then Saturday, I'm going to be in the Team Stampin' blog hop. So stay tuned to my blog for that as well. So let me turn the volume down here. And I'm going to move the comments here. You're getting yours tomorrow. You're so lucky. Cajun Craze Crushed Curry. Ooh, how about and add in like a little bit of green and some mango. That's always a good one too. That Dangerous Coffee. This is like my 3rd cup. This is just my choking cup of coffee, just in case. Okay, so let me just show you. Last week, if you guys saw this, you see how it got all kind of funky. So I got a new one and I put all my stickers on so I can learn all different languages. And then I have my inside one, but it is so clean and fresh and beautiful. So thank you, Donna, for buying me this Cherry Cobbler ink pad. She did a GoFundMe for that. Bless her. So I got just a couple things. I got Timeless Tropical. I did order the entire rest of this suite so we can make some cards. They're not going to be spring. They're going to be like aloha cards, like we're flying to Hawaii. This is a cool stamp set. I love the palm trees. And this has pineapple dies that coordinate with it. So that's really cool. I also got, actually I got 2 of these, so I need to give one of these away as well. I got Timeless Tulips. This one, they gave this to everybody, and then they had this, when you go to On Stage, if you have On Stage Live, which is like the big one, so the big one this year was in Germany, this particular time of year. So when you go next November, it will be in Salt Lake City if you're fortunate enough to be able to go, and they don't typically let you take the stuff there. They do it for the locals, which are the smaller ones. So this was a stamp set everybody at the table used. So this also has a coordinating punch, so I'm gonna have to give this away as well. And then you guys saw Christian made a card. Where is it? I just had it here a second ago with the My Meadow. He wanted to make a lake. He's so cute, that kid. And this is, in case you didn't know, this is a duck, and it's a boy because it has a green head. So this is another great stamp set. Speaking of, I need to order the Snowfront one. I still haven't gotten that one. And this is just a stamp set. It doesn't have dies or anything. But then this one is Peaceful Moments. This actually coordinates with a die set that will create a poppy and flower, stems, and it's beautiful. I didn't order the dies for this yet. I was trying to pace myself because I always buy too much stuff, but I love even just this one for the sentiments. It's beautiful. Love the sentiments in this one. And then I got some of the Whisper White. I think this is like crinkled seam binding ribbon, so it's pretty easy to tie. And you could also dye this because it's white. You could dye it with your Stampin' Blends or your Stampin' Rite markers. So got that as well. And I got 2 Stampin' Blends. I feel like I got Old Olive. And everybody got, also at the very end, everybody got this really cool designer series paper. It's Country Club. This is How Much I Love You. I haven't even opened it yet. So this is a really, I'll put this one in one of my 12 by 12s, but this is a cool one. They have a lot of really nice dude stuff, masculine stuff, variable. Oh, wait, and the greatest part about this one, or was it the other one? I can't remember. I'm sorry, but the stamp set that coordinates with one of the two of these, it doesn't say like dad or man or whatever. So you can use it for so many things, because I think so many of the sentiments are really great, but when they add either a woman or a man to it, which they do this a lot with the female stuff, it kind of, then you have to write your own thing or you have to block it out. So that always is a little frustrating because you can't use it for quite as much as you normally would. And then this one is really neat because it has 2 sheets that you could trim these out and make cards. So you could make 12 cards, just trim this. You could put it onto something and color it in. But that Argyle is pretty cool as well. So that's a difficult decision. But a couple of the stamp sets they have, I really like the fact that it doesn't have any, I don't want to say a pronoun because I don't mean it that way. I mean, it doesn't say like, thanks mom or thanks dad. It's just like, thanks for making me who I am. I thought that was one of the greatest things, because I have a lot of friends who make me who I am. And it's like, you don't want to only use it for one thing. So I like the versatility of that. So this is the Country Club Designer Series paper. I feel like it might be with the Country Club one. I don't know. I'm going to have to look and see. But lots of super awesome sentiments. Okay, so let me check my blue bugs. No, they're actually golf bags. They're actually, believe it or not, they're golf bags. They do look like bugs, though. I totally agree with you. They kind of look like cockroaches or water bugs. We used to have water bugs growing up where I lived. So, yes, they do look like water bugs. They can coordinate with the dinosaur or the bug builder. Wouldn't that be hilarious? Okay, so today the sale, that's the other thing I want to tell you, the online extravaganza, thank you, that's brought me back, Mary. It's going on now, so they do have select bundles that they are giving you an extra 5% off on. So the Petals and Parcel bundle, which you get the stamp set, and then you can make the 2 boxes, so that's one. And the other one is the Pressed Petals, so the Path of Petals stamp set, and then the dies. So it's this stamp set, and then it has coordinating dies. And the other one is Bird Ballad, which I made a really cute card. I didn't finish the video yet, but I had to finish this video. I made this the other day, so this will be going live soon. And that comes with the stitched nested labels, which are huge. I don't know. I can't imagine. I'm guessing, from what I'm assuming, maybe some of these are like not selling as well as they expected. But these nested dies, I don't know. The birds are a great set. Then the Dino Roar, so the stamp set and the dies, that's also an additional 5% off. Now this isn't for the suite, it's just for the stamp set and the dies. And then Band Together, so that's the stamp set, and then it has the band cards, or the band dies that you could add over your cards or boxes. Another one is Bloom and Grow, which is this stamp set, and then it has coordinating dies to cut out the flowers. And finally, To a Wild Rose, which I know we use this a lot. So that one's also one other one. So it's the stamp set and then the coordinating dies, which it has some really, this die actually goes with it. This one that goes around the sentiment. So that's a nice one as well. Okay, and then you can also get the Neutrals collection, so the cardstock and the stamp pad. So you could get the collection at an extra discount, or you can get 15% off of the paper and or the pad. And then the same thing for the Regals, so it's Neutrals and Regals, and then it's also for the in colors minus Purple Posy, because Purple Posy is no longer Purple Posy ink, I should say. I'm pretty sure you still can get the cardstock. I just don't think it's the ink. So oh, and you know what, Denise? I did find out how to make this box. Now that you mention it, I just still didn't order it because I didn't. So this box, there is a diagram on how to make the smaller box. And what you're doing is you're basically just cutting it a little bit smaller. So if I can get my hands on this die, I will absolutely make it for you, but I did call and ask about that as a matter of fact. So I don't want you to think that I forgot. I didn't. I just haven't ordered that stamp set and die set yet. So maybe I will. We'll see. We still have a couple days left to order. So it's today, tomorrow, and Friday. So the 20th through the 22nd. I am almost 150% sure that is correct. Let me just double check something real quick. Yes, the 20th to the 22nd is when the online extravaganza lasts. So just as an FYI, I did not forget though, Denise. So thank you for mentioning it though. I do appreciate that. Okay, so let's make, I think we said, oh, Bird Ballad. Yeah, that was a beautiful one. Let's make, we said, I think we were going to go with, it looks like some people said cards. I saw a couple 3Ds. I also will have a 3D tomorrow. So let's make, how about we do one little 3D, like a mini something 3D, and then we can do a card as well. So how about if we make something that you could put like a little small treat in? Like, for example, this one's pretty good here. This is a cute one. Pretty simple. We could do this one. And then we could decorate this instead with some fall paper. Will anybody be taking a treat? Stock up on your cardstock. That's exactly right. Will anybody be taking a treat with them for Thanksgiving? And then we could make a card. Oh, I have another card video I'm just thinking of. I need to do to post for everyone. Thanks for joining, Marlene. Nice to see you. I have one other thing I do, and I don't know if you all do this or not, but this is a really kind of handy thing to do if you make a lot of 3D projects, is if you have like a cardstock that say you don't really use any longer, or color that wasn't ever your favorite color, what I try to do is I will make templates out of them. And then I keep them all in like this little clear folder here. So if I'm ever looking for something to make and I'm like, oh, what would be something I could fit that in? As you can see, I have a bazillion of them here. I'm looking for this one specific one though. Here it is. So we can make this, and we'll dress this up with some fall paper in case you want to take something for Thanksgiving. And if you don't have fall paper, you could absolutely use just some stamps and make your own DSP. Just stamp some images all around would be really nice. So that's one good idea. So we'll do this one. And yes, this is, I love this. This paper is so pretty. But we'll do mint. How about mint, Donna? That's a great idea. I'm just kidding. She's already turning it off as we speak. I can just feel it happening. Okay, so I think I have some little scrappy pieces still left of the, yep, I do, of the Come Together DSP. So between this, we'll do it with this, and I'm not going to put it on mint, even though now you really make me want to put it on mint. Instead, we'll do something super neutral, and I will use, I didn't want to use crumb cake. I wanted to use Sahara sand. Let me see if I can grab that real quick. We'll use Sahara sand. So I have a brand new pack of that, so we'll use that. I believe this is in the Neutrals collection, coincidentally, and I swear I did not plan this. That was totally, it's just kind of funny how things work out sometimes, aren't they? Now that, let's see, this will go nice with this one. Okay, so I had to figure this out because I probably should have picked crumb cake, but that's okay. I'm not going to do crumb cake. And maybe I can add a little bit of Pretty Peacock just for the heck of it. We'll like back it with a little bit of that, and then we'll make something else as well. All right, so here's what we're going to do to start. Let me move this over. We're going to need to get our paper cut. So you need an 11-inch by 4 3/4 inch piece of cardstock. So I'm going to use this one. So let's see, 4 3/4. Trim this down. Let me make sure I'm correct before I put that away. Perfect. There you go. All right. So then this piece you could use for something else. You could make like a mini card to go with it if you wanted to, right? So this is most likely, let me grab my, because we're going to just keep cutting and trimming. We'll put this whole thing together. So we're going to put this on the 4 3/4 inch side, and we're going to score it at 3/4 of an inch on each side. So I tend to like to do this instead of doing like here and here. I tend to like to turn it that way. Even if your cardstock is a little bit off, it still is scored evenly. And then we're going to score it at 4 3/4, and it says 6 1/4. Let's see if that looks remotely right. Yep. Okay. And then I'm going to score it about, I'm going to go with about a 1/2 inch. So, no, that's 3/4. Let me go with, yeah, I'm going to go with 3/4 of an inch just to the score line here. And so that was there. And then that will put it at 7. So I'm just scoring this. I don't know if you can see this, but I'm just scoring this to the score line. I went a little bit over there, but so same thing again. We'll do this one at 4 to the score line. And this one is at, I feel like that wasn't big enough. Nope, 7. Nope, I think that's right. All right. So we're going to go ahead and fold this, and then we'll cut the rest of the paper. So we're going to fold on our score lines. Use your bone folder so you get a really nice crease. And then fold on the side. And if you don't want to do that extra scoring there, you can always just cut yourself a little piece. So another easy thing. So we're just going to cut on the score lines. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut, which way was this here? So I'm going to cut here. And then I like to grab my bigger scissors because I feel like I cut straighter in a line with a long scissor. 1. Another good thing to do if you're doing this, if you decide to make yourself templates and keep them handy, is if you use a special tool. So for example, on this one, you could write the Simply Scored. That way you knew which tool you used to score it. But more specifically, I'm talking about if you got like the envelope punch board. When I made a bunch of projects before, I don't know, I guess I thought I was going to remember what I was doing, and of course I didn't. And then I'm going to cut down here on this score line on all 4 sides. So I've been writing what tool I used to create it on there as well, because I forgot, and then one of them I made, and I was like, oh, this will be easy. I'll remember this. I did it. All right, and then I'm going to do just a little miter cut on these. Just that way they fold in a little bit nicer. Okay, and same on this one. All right, there we go. So then it looks exactly like this. So now the only thing you can do is you can decide, do you want to round these corners? So since we didn't before, let's see. This one I just cut. It's just a little bit off. I just cut off that score line there. Maybe I had too much coffee this morning. I'm not cutting correctly. I'm not cutting straight. That's for sure. Bit down there is okay. So how about we'll do this instead of rounding this one, we'll keep this square, but we'll round the pretty peacock we're going to add on there, and then we'll add this on top, or we could do the dots. Either one, we'll decide. We can do either. So these should measure about, if I'm not mistaken, about 3, yeah, just a little bit less than 3 1/4. So we'll do this at 3 by 4 1/2. So I'm going to cut 2 pieces here. So 3 by 4 1/2. And this is, you don't have to do this part, so if it feels like it's too much for you, you could skip it. You could also, I don't want to make this take any longer than it already is going to, because I feel like it's, with all the talking I did in the beginning, it's a little bit longer than normal. But if you have time, you could use this piece and cut something out from underneath since you're going to put it in. And then this one will trim down about 1/4 inch. So this one will be 3, oh, let's see if I can get this out of here, 3 3/4 by 2 3/4. Oh, that worked out well. So then this will layer. Oh, that's a little shorter than I wanted. Son of a gun. Hold on, let's see. Yeah, you know what? It's a little shorter, but oh well, that's going to be the way it is because I don't have any more of that paper left. So what I would say is when you cut this one, hold on, let me take a peek at this real quick. Made this just, I think I was measuring, yeah, 4.5. I should have made this 4. So this should be 4 inches by 2 3/4 instead. So if you cut your DSP, do 4 inches by 2 3/4. All right, so then what we'll do is I'm going to round just the top 2 pieces. So I'm only going to round 2 corners. So the trio punch, you just stick your paper in. Oop, that wasn't all the way in. 1, 2, and I'm going to do the same for the other one. So I'm going to leave the bottom part square. And then I'm going to do the same for the pretty peacock. So then those will layer together just like that. Do the same for this one. And you could totally skip this as well. You could just go direct DSP and not have any paper layer underneath. But what we're going to do is we'll put this together. Oh my goodness, look at this. I cut this one completely wrong too. What in the world is wrong with me? You know what? To make this match, I'm going to have to trim this one down. Good Lord. I'm losing my marbles. I'm sorry, ladies. See what happened? Got all excited talking about myself and then start cutting stuff incorrectly. So I'm going to cut this one down to 4. Sweet Jesus in the summertime. Let's see. All right, those line up better now. Good Lord. Now, one other thing I am going to do, just because I like to tend to do stuff with this because I think it works out better, is I'm going to use liquid glue. That way if I need to move it around a little bit. But I am trying to make sure that I get all the way to the edge, because sometimes I don't do that. Another thing you can do is you can kind of put your paper down and then wiggle it a little bit before you put it all the way on there. There you go. So there's one. You're watching Mad About You. I feel like I'm on Mad About You. This seems like something that Paul Reiser would say, right? Like he started out with something and ended up being totally goofy. So now I almost feel like I need to trim this down a little bit. I think I'm going to. I'm going to take a little bit off of this, just to make up for the fact. So that's 4. I'm going to make this 4 1/4 instead. I'm just trimming off just a hair. That should be enough. Yep. So I'm just putting my score line here at the 4 1/4 mark, relatively speaking, and trimming it. Oh, geez. Can't do anything with this girl, I swear. All right, so before we put this on, because you don't want to punch through too many layers of stuff, okay? Because if you do, it kind of makes it rough on your punch, and it can make your punches wear out a little bit sooner. So just keep that in mind. We could just do the dot. Instead, you could do a bigger punch if you have. I did, for the one, where's my sample here? I used the classic label punch. I'm going to try using just the dot, and I'm going to see what it looks like. I haven't done this before, but we'll see. So this one goes in just straight, and then you kind of have to eyeball where you think it is about. Actually, if you line these 2 points up, it goes pretty well. So let's see. That might work. Makes it a teeny bit hard to see when you do the other way, but we'll try our best. All right, and then when you put this on, you should be able to flip that through and line that up. This is pretty even in there. Let's see. Oh, got kind of lucky on that one. I probably would have gone down a little bit for the beginning, but that's okay. We'll keep it like that. And let's see what this one looks like, if it's fairly. Oh, did a pretty good job for being goofy. Now, do make sure that you don't put glue right on that whole part because it will seep through. So I kind of will put it like right to the side, but not exactly on. Definitely want to put it underneath. So there's one, and it pretty much does meet right at the top there. So always remember, you can adjust yours if you've used a punch that you like better. But that's probably would go just a little bit over to the right if I'd have done it again. However, I think that's pretty good. Now, you are going to want to have a slightly strong adhesive when you put the tabs on, only because you want it to stay together. So I'm going to put some tear and tape. You could use tear and tape and liquid glue if you wanted to be able to make sure that it was nice and square. But otherwise, tear and tape will do you fine. If you still have some of that red tape, that stuff was really, really, really good. But I would not use snail, and I would be hesitant to use fast fuse. One other thing you could do if you wanted to, just to make this look a little bit more like fall-like or rustic if you wanted to, you could always grab a hopefully clean sponge, and you could just sponge the edges a little bit. I think my Sahara sand needs to be re-inked. So you could sponge that. And again, I probably would have, if we are being 100% honest with the way this design looks thus far, you might want to go with a slightly bigger punch, because you can only get this whole tab down so far, and I would have put this down so it was a little bit more even at the bottom, but I think it's going to still line up fine. I just was going for a little bit different of a look when I started. That's about it. So press these down really nicely, and then you're just going to take off the release paper. If you have any that accidentally you made it just a little bit too big, you could just take the paper and flip it back on itself, or the tape I should say. And all right, so then you're going to stick this in like that. Like that. I never really press it fully until I make sure that I got it exactly where I want it and that it's square enough for me. I kind of just like set it in there, and I guess you would say tack it in place. And then when I make sure that I have it right where I want it, then I press. And you could even go ahead with your bone folder if you wanted to and just push down. Make sure it's lined up nicely. Okay, so as usual, what I probably have up here is stale. This is obviously too tall to fit. I had some pretzels, but I think I actually ate them. I know that sounds kind of sad, but so then what you're going to do is you're going to put your treat in, or if it's something that's big enough you can put from the side. We're going to grab, since it's here, I have the really pretty crumb cake, and this is the satin edged ribbon. These two come together. You might still have some of this if you did the paper or the DSP share with me. You might have both of these to be able to use. And we'll just take this and we're going to snip it off. I'm going to go a little high on this one so I can trim this up just a smidge. So there's that. Just trim that off. And then you can take the Cajun Craze, which comes with this as well. And let's see, we'll go around a couple times because this is pretty thin. It's kind of like a baker's twine, but almost just a little bit thinner. It's more like a thread, I guess, like a linen thread. And I'm just going to tie this in a knot, just like that. Pretty easy. Only thing we need to do is add some sort of a little sentiment. You could make these shorter if you wanted to, Totally easy for that. So I will post all the correct measurements so you can make this to this actual size. But as you see, you know, we always make stuff different here. So we have like 2 different versions of the same thing. This one's just a little bit shorter. So if you do choose that one, just make sure whatever treat you pick fits in it before you decide to cut it down. But still looks cute, works cute. Only other thing we have to do is just add a little sentiment. So let's grab something. You could even use this one, Thinking of You This Season. We'll just use that. It's very simple. I know this isn't a Christmas set, however, works just as well. So I'm just going to grab a scrap of Whisper White. And we can even add some of this other stuff to it just to kind of make it look nice. Now I am going to use Soft... No, you know what? I'm going to use Pretty Peacock just to kind of stick with it. So Pretty Peacock. This doesn't necessarily have to be for the Christmas season. It could be for any season. And then I'm going to grab the little pine bow. And this might be where I could, if I wanted to, pull out the mint. But instead, I'll go with crumb cake. Just like something light. And stamp again before... There you go. So that's cute. And then I'm just going to grab a punch. I have a couple different ones. May fit in one of these better. This one I really like. This is the Everyday Label Punch. It fits larger sentiments really well. So you can see that looks really nice. But it could possibly fit in the tailored tag. Nope, a little too tight in that one, so it might be a little too tight. I can never remember the name of this one. If anybody knows it, shout it out. I'm going to use this one. It's not Pretty Label, because that one's a little bit more scallopy. Just trying to line that up. That's the one thing I like really very much about the punches, is it makes it easy to see what you're cutting out. All right. There's that. I don't feel like I make these projects look easy, but thank you, Kathleen. I feel like I really made this one complicated, and you're like, oh, Lord, what in the world is this girl doing? All right, so I'm going to, let's see. I'm just going to go around this with the, oh, you know what I'll do? Because the Cajun, we have a little bit of Cajun ribbon in there. I'm going to go around this with the Cajun craze. You could also, if you wanted a little bit lighter, you could use the terracotta tile, but I'm just going to take my marker and kind of just trace around the shape. And the cool part when you do this is you can make it as thick or as thin as you like. If you just use the tip of the marker, or if you want a fatter line, you can go farther up like that, farther up to the top. Let's see if I can, whoops, got a little crazy on that one. All right, let me move these out of the way. And then we'll just add this just with a couple dimensionals. And then you could give this to anybody, easy to make. Really, really simple. Give this to somebody that invites you over for Thanksgiving, or maybe you go, we have friends that come over just for dessert for Thanksgiving. So you could give this to somebody really easily. Very simple thing to make. So I think this is really nice. Again, this is a little bit shorter than the original one that I was going to make, only because I cut my paper incorrectly. So there's one. So let me move these things out of the way and we'll get to make a card. So we made a fall Thanksgiving-y or thank you-y kind of thing. So do we want to do a Christmas card? Because I'm happy to do timeless label. Thank you, Lisa. You know what I'm going to do right now? Because I can never remember the name of this. So thank you, Lisa. I'm going to write it on here. Timeless. I should remember, because time and time again, I can never remember the name of this. Timeless. Thank you. Next time I'll be like, oh, that's right. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks for telling me. And you know what the funny part is? Look, I labeled these because I couldn't remember what they were called. And this one I couldn't remember to look it up, so I didn't even label it. Isn't that lame? Oh my goodness. All right, so I have a couple more little scraps here I'm still going to save of that. Oh my goodness. All right, so what do we want? Christmas card or Thanksgiving card? Christmas. Karen said Christmas. All right, Karen, thanks. Thanks for that one. So I'm going to move this over and put this back in my bin o' stuff. Let's see if I can get a couple of these things out of the way. So how about while we're at it, we'll just use winter woods. And how about while we're at it, let's make something that has a background that we haven't used in a while. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I keep forgetting. Hold on, I'm just trying to get my paper over here organized. Let's do a an ink blending-ish background, and then we'll stamp the trees. So we'll do like a sunset background, or sunrise, I guess, depending on whichever one you want to do. And then we'll stamp the trees over top of it in black. Been wanting to do that for a while. So let me get, I'm going to do a piece of, I'm going to do Shimmery Whisper White. Nope, that's not it. All right, here we go. I'm going to do Shimmery Whisper White. I'm going to have to trim this down. I have to move my other stack to the ground there. Don't mind me. Get another piece in case I goof up. All right, so I was driving home quite some time ago, and I saw the most gorgeous sunset. And ever since then, I kept saying, I need to make a card. I need to make a card. I need to make a card. And did I make a card? No, I didn't make a card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some terracotta, some mango, maybe a teeny bit of Poppy Parade, and then I need a really nice yellow, Daffodil Delight. Hopefully that's going to work out. So what are we going with? I think this is more of a sunrisey, so I'm going to bring in something dark. I don't know if I want navy or bushel, but we'll figure it out as we go. All right, let me move this over so I don't have a catastrophe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some sort of a background with my brushes that I got at the dollar store. These are those makeup brushes that everybody's using. They only had 2 sizes when I went to the dollar store. This one and one that was a little bit bigger. But I'm going to start with some Daffodil Delight first. So let's see. If we were going with sunrise, it's going to be darker at the bottom. If we're going sunset, so we'll see. Let's see what this ends up looking like. So when you use these brushes, they're really, really soft. So if you like things touching your face, they're really, really nice and soft. So we'll just put some Daffodil Delight. And I will tell you one thing, these aren't like the most beautiful blendy, and blending does take time and practice. Also, another thing that would help you with this is some glycerin, because that helps to spread the ink a little bit smoother. If you had those other blending brushes, which I believe are Picket Fence. Oh goodness, this has got some different color ink in it. I wonder what happened to this one. They may blend differently. Also, if you have those other, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to grab a little bit of glycerin and I'm going to put this on a block, because this makes things work a little bit better for me sometimes. What are they, like Tim Holtz blending brushes, or those ones where you have the little pads? They may blend different, but the other thing you have to remember too is our inks are dye inks, so they dry super fast, so they really don't lend to easy blending. So just kind of remember that it's not something you're necessarily doing wrong. It also has to do with the ink. So I'm just going to wipe this off best I can, and I'm going to take my brush here, just wipe out some of the color there. So I am going to darker, so that's why I'm not being too particular about it. So again, this was terracotta. This also will kind of pull you can find a spot that looks like you don't have as much ink in your ink pad. So if you kind of go in the same area, I don't know if you can see that or not the way it is. Nope, not necessarily. It will kind of give you a lighter spot. That's okay. It's not really doing anything. It's just picking up the ink in that specific spot. So, and I'm just blending kind of all over the whole thing. So starting in the darker area, but then kind of bringing this down all over. Oop, that was a little dark. I didn't mean to go there necessarily. All right, so then we'll get a little bit of poppy, and then I'm going to bring in some blue. So the people behind me right now, or behind me house-wise, I should specify, they're getting their leaves picked up. There must be some big machine out there, because you can hear some engine is really trying its very best to work up this. It's not really a big hill back there, but it is a good slant. Either that or they're picking up the leaves. And I think they suck them up in this huge truck that has like a openish back to it. Crazy. The stuff that they have for mulching and yard work and leaf stuff this day is just absolutely amazing. Okay, so now I'm going to do a little blue. So I'm going to start with Blueberry Bushel, and then I'm going to add maybe a little bit of Night of Navy if I need to. So I'm just adding just more glycerin to this block. That's all that is, okay? Too much ink on the brush. Donna sent me this. Donna, you can tell her where you got that. And sometimes, like she's saying, if you're going to start off blending off here, it does work differently. The only other thing you have to be careful is sometimes with your coloring, with your color choices, it can kind of give you a muddy-ish color. So just keep that in mind. If you mix too much stuff, it does end up becoming like a brown. And there's not really much that's pretty about a brown sunset. So if you let it dry, sometimes, because if you're mixing like blue and a reddish, you could end up with a purple. So I do kind of still tend to keep my towel. But a lot of times, like I said, when you use the glycerin, it will give you a little bit more of a spreading capability. And it also depends on the paper you use. So again, this was shimmery white, which does tend to blend really nicely. Nina Classic Crest blends really nicely as well. I'm trying to keep the purplish off of here. I know you do really have a purple kind of look, but I don't want it to be too purple. And instead of navy, what I think I'm actually going to do, believe it or not, I'm going to do a little bit of black. Just because I want to kind of have that night-ish thing. So let's see. See if I can get this without ruining it. So I'm kind of just sticking to the end. Now this amalgam ink is a different ink. The amalgam ink, if you have a pigment ink, they're going to blend much better. So if you don't exclusively use Stampin' Up inks, because Stampin' Up's inks are dye-based inks, but the Whisper or the Craft ink, that is a pigment ink. The Delicata inks are pigment inks, so they will blend a little bit better. But dye inks do tend to dry a little bit faster. All right, so that's good enough. Now, I'm going to give this just a minute, and I'm going to use my cloth, and I'm just going to, and I touched something here, so I have a smudge. See if I can get rid of that. I'm going to wipe up just a little bit. So what I'm going to do with this is I will take it to the sink and thoroughly rinse it out just to make sure that it's actually really clean, because that way if I use it again for something light. I haven't had any of the colors, but I haven't gone to black. I haven't had any colors cross over once it's dry, but again, I haven't used black with it yet, so we'll have to see for that. So for this, kind of looking more sunrisey. Again, it does still have a very graded look to it. So you can see the shimmer though through the paper, which I think is really pretty as well. So if that is something with you, maybe you just want to pick 3 ink colors to go with. That way it's not quite as much of a grade. But once we add in the trees, we'll see if we can kind of make a little bit of that disappear. So those bundles are for henna. Are you doing henna now as well? I'm just kidding. And then I'm going to add in this little thing. It's kind of like the ground cover. So do this here. Another one you could do that would be really neat too was if you just did the birch trees, would be really pretty. But we're going to do this grouping of trees, and then we'll do the bottom here. We'll see. Hopefully this is going to turn out the way I want it to. So I did put the extra sticker sheets from my other stamps on here, so it does stick. Oop. Does stick much better than the other ones did. This one has a piece on it as well, I think. And then only other thing I want to do, and I am going to get out my Stamparatus for this, only because sometimes if you don't press well enough, so I don't know why I put this on here, but sometimes if you don't press well enough and you kind of lose your chance to re-ink, I would rather not do that, only considering it did take me a few minutes to be able to create this. So we're going to try to eliminate that. And the other thing I could have done, which would have probably been a little bit smarter, is to go landscape instead of portrait, but no biggie. All right, so then we're gonna kind of situate where we think we want this. Whoops. So I'll say just like that. Sorry, with my markers there, I don't have quite enough room. So I'm going to pick up my stamp. Put a few of these out of the way. Make less stuff for me to run into. All right, and then I have recently re-inked my memento, so this should be nice and juicy. So I'm just gonna ink up my stamp. Okay, and I'm gonna take this, bring it up so you can see, and just close. And I kind of walk all over the stamp, especially this one because it has a lot of details in it. But since we're using the Stamparatus, good part is, if we don't like it, we can always re-ink. But wow, that actually turned out really good. And the funny part is it kind of really makes the colors pop, that it doesn't look the way I thought it would. So that's pretty good inking considering. Now I guarantee you if I would have stamped that, wouldn't have turned out that good the first time. All right, so let me turn this over. And where's my other little guy here? So I'm going to just stamp this freely across the top. I'm going to just hold this in place here. I'm going to do the same thing again. Now I'm going to do it with my memento. Oops, that's not on the... Hold on, this one got goopy. I'm just stamping this across the bottom. You can always change up the direction of it if you don't want them all to look exactly the same. Probably should have put a scrap there. There you go. So there's that. Let me wipe this little smudge off before I make a mess. Okay, so then there's that kind of nice background sky. So what I'm going to do is, I think I trimmed this to 4 by 5 1/4. If not, I'm going to trim it down just a little bit, and then I'm going to lay something on top of it just to mat it. That way it looks a little bit nicer. Just wipe this off because I feel like if I don't, I'm going to make a huge mess. I'm kind of surprised with all that yapping I did. It's only 10:30. I thought for sure it'd be 10:45 or people would be like, all right, this has been long enough. I'll see you later. Which I couldn't say I'd blame you. All right, let me see what this is. Yeah, so I'm going to trim this down just a hair because I want this to be 3 3/4. I'm just going to take a little bit off of each side. So it's going to be 3 3/4 by 5. And I'm going to take off the top portion because that's not my favorite part. I probably would have potentially left that out, quite honestly. All right, so there's that. And I'm going to put this, I'm going to end up putting it onto a black base because I think it makes the color pop. Also be very careful because this memento does take a moment or so to dry. So I'm going to do black for the base. And then maybe terracotta. I haven't used that one all that much. Use terracotta for the layer. That might look pretty. If you're ever in doubt of something, you can always kind of lay them together and see what they look like. I think I would like mango better. I'm going to go with mango, because it'll kind of bring out that bright pop of color. Let's see if I have one that might be okay. Let's take a peek. All right, so this one I want to be 5 1/4 by 4. And then I'm going to do the black. I'm going to score this at 5 1/2. Forgot my magnet. And cut at 4. And I do apologize. I know I said Christmas, and I didn't even listen. I just went on my own path here. So I'm going to have to do a Christmas card. I'm actually having someone come for a makeup class tomorrow. So maybe if we get finished up, I can do a Christmas one in the late morning, early afternoon. There you go. That's pretty. All right, so then I'm going to just take my liquid glue, put this down. Before I'm finished with this one, I'm going to shake up my shimmer paint, even though it does have the shimmery white paper. I'm just going to spray it anyway. Give it a second before you touch it, because the alcohol will kind of reactivate the ink, but it makes it like super, super, super shimmery now. It's really, really pretty. As a matter of fact, I'm going to just hit it real quick with my heat tool just to dry it. Probably could have totally trimmed off this bottom portion here because of the way this is. So what I'm going to do is, where did I put that ribbon? I'm just going to put this right across the bottom, just because, where's my fast fuse? I'm going to hook this on with some fast fuse. Kind of covers up. Don't want it too tight, but it kind of covers up that extra orange down at the bottom. The excessive sunset or sunrise, whichever way it was that we decided to go. Okay, and then I'm going to liquid glue this down again. Make sure I have this opening correctly. Nothing like a card that's going to open upside down. Probably could have just put a little bit. I'm actually going to just lift this up. I'm just putting just a little line of glue, and I'm actually going to just spread it out. That way it's not too goopy or wet. And then this will press down nicely. And then what we'll do is we'll just put our we're going to make a little sentiment. We'll put that right across the bottom there. And we'll just make thinking of you. It'll be simple. That way, maybe you need a card for someone who has a hard time with the holidays. Thinking of you will work very nicely. Let's see, I had this other piece here, so I'm just going to keep using this little scrap piece. And I think I'm going to just stick with, I don't really want to do black, but I think it's probably the best way to go with the way I did the background. All right, so you could do this a couple ways. You can ink your whole stamp. You can ink part of your stamp, and then you could wipe it off with a towel. You could use Post-it a Post-it note to mask it off before you stamp it. You could use a Stampin' Right marker to just ink up the words that you'd like. See how this works. That works pretty well. I do have still a little halo here, but I'm going to cut that off, so I'm not going to worry about that. Just remember, though, because this might be just a little bit wet. Make sure this is nice and straight. Same on the bottom here. So I am going to, even though this little part goes up, I'm going to trim this pretty close. I have never, ever been able to master what I have seen Jennifer McGuire and Christina Werner do, which is stamping on these little strips and getting them even. It still just boggles my mind how they do that. I truly do not know how they do it, because I could have a little things trimmed out, and darn if I stamp it on there, never looks right. So I usually do it this way and then kind of trim to fit. And this one is up just a little bit too high. It's going to show. Ah, there we go. Trying to do that with a clean finger. There we go. So just a very simple sentiment. Looks really pretty considering. I probably wouldn't have added as much of the blue, or maybe made it really dark would have been a good idea. I do still have to do the card with the gouache, which would be the night sky, and then it has like the splatters. I know people asked me that before and they're like, what exactly is it that you're talking about? It really is a neat thing. It works differently than if you were to use the white re-inker. So that's the only reason really that I want to try it, just because it's going to be something a little bit different. So let me wipe this off real quick. Super goopy. And I'll move this out of the way, and then I can show you guys what we did. So thank you guys for sticking through this with me today. And I do know I said Christmas, and I'm sorry I didn't make anything Christmassy, but I will. I will make you something Christmassy. Make you something special, I promise. So here's the two things that we created today. This little tag, and then we used the winter wood stamp set for the kind of like a sunrise, sunset, really undetermined on what exactly that is that's going on there. Sky with the black trees, but I think that always looks really, really pretty. And I do find that things in nature are really difficult to duplicate for me anyway when it comes to sunrise or sunsets. I don't know. They're just so beautiful. I feel like what I make just never ends up looking like what I think it's supposed to look like. But I thank you all so much for joining me today. Thank you all so much for helping me achieve 195 demonstrator out of 200. Out of 30,000 and something, which still boggles my mind. I would not be able to do it without my team members and without you all, my customers and friends. I really, truly, truly appreciate your support. You have no idea how much it means to me that I found that out yesterday. It really just made my evening. If you guys would like to get anything in the online store, I do have a brand new host code. So Kathy did ask me about the specials prior to coming on, and I said I would tell her. So I do have a tutorial. Of course, I put the box away. Let me see where it is. To make, I have my regular tutorial specials, but in addition, I have this little box, really easy to make for anything. You could use it with this DSP, or really any DSP would really be adorable. I actually did make one for my friend. Don't mind that little tear mark there. I made one for my friend Rhonda for her birthday using the bird ballad paper, so that turned out really cute. So this is an extra bonus tutorial in addition to what I have listed, but every purchase earns a free tutorial. If you have a purchase over $100, or I'm sorry, over $50, there is an additional tutorial. I cannot think of the name of it at the moment. However, that is all on my blog, and I will make sure that it's all posted so it's a little bit more clear as to what you may be getting when you're shopping. I always send out a thank you card, and I usually try to include some sort of a little extra embellishment or some ribbon for you to use. So I do always try to send out a small, even if it's just a small thank you gift, so you know how much I do appreciate your support in helping me along this journey. So make sure if you missed this, it will replay and always repost to YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube. I thank you very much also for your comments, so because that was where it is going to go eventually. And thank you guys very much for watching. I will see you back sometime this week. I'm not exactly sure when, but possibly Friday afternoon. And again, remember my blog hop tomorrow is on Rachthestamper.com. You can find me there. And one other mention. If you are not on my mailing list, and you would like to be, please send me your email. I'm getting ready to send out the 12 weeks of Christmas, which is a whole bunch of different, very simple project ideas. It's completely free. It's my gift to you. It is actually 12 or might be 13 ideas of great projects. You can use it with virtually any DSP. You don't necessarily have to have the DSP that's shown, but if you have some paper that you've been trying to use, get rid of, or just use up in general so it's not sitting in your closet and nobody sees it, it's a great way to share something with friends. You can give them a little handmade gift this season. There's lots of super cool ideas. So if I don't have your email address, please send it to me at rachthestamper@gmail.com. I promise I will never send you spam. I only use it to send either the Stampin' Up! Specials or specials that I am personally promoting, or when I send out these tutorials. So thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you again real soon.